Hello everybody, my name is Martin Hudak. This is Stafano, Catino and Andrea Gualdi. And we are Maybe Sammy in Australia. We are very happy in those hard times to at least this way be able to present you some ideas, some love and passion, which we have. And hopefully you will enjoy next 60 minutes, maybe less with us. And hopefully we can inspire you or show you a little bit more about Maybe Sammy. And thank you, Tales of the Cocktails, for having us. Thank you for giving us opportunity to talk about our bar in depth. And let's start.
Amazing. Let's do it. Let's do this.
Let's go. So today's presentation we would like to call The Art of Show Business. Why the art of show business and why we're going to talk about basically business part and show part. It's very simple. We took inspiration from this very famous picture from 60s, from the very famous time and era of the Rat Pack, musicians, fun times. And in these pictures, you can see the members of Rat Pack, such as Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin, Sammy Davis Jr., Peter Lafford, and as well Joey Bishop. And those beautiful, incredible talents, they were very famous for many things, not only singing, dancing, but entertaining people. And there's this beautiful quote which they said that show business is a combination of two words, show and business, and they are equally important, right?
Correct.
And we want to really touch the topics why it's important to do show in your bar and why it's important on the other hand to do business, because one without another can work. And today in 3 different chapters we're gonna touch the base, and we're gonna basically talk about how to open a bar, because maybe people out there want to fulfill their dreams and open bars one day, or maybe they want to work with someone on opening new bar. And in our years of experience and experience here at Maybe Sammy, we want to basically touch the topic how to open bar, and we're gonna divide this presentation in 3 simple steps. And basically the first one is a story, the second is a business part, and the third one is a show part. So story, business, show, and we're gonna divide it. We kind of give a speech each of us and kind of try to work and talk through about our ideas. And I think the best way how to tell you the story about Maybe Sammy and who we are and how this happened, it will be by none less Stafano Catino, this beautiful gentleman in the middle who had the dream 12 years ago.
Yes.
12 years ago had the dream when he was back home in Italy, making Aperol Spritz and Negroni, right?
Correct.
And moved to Australia. And Stafano gonna tell a little bit more about how this whole idea moving to Australia and opening something such as Maybe Sammy, and we will share kind of the journey.
Yeah. The story of how we got here, okay? To look forward, let's always look backwards, no? So when we look backwards, we look of, our experience, what we achieved during these times, the people that we met, the travel. And this is the beginning of the story. I came to Australia almost 12 years ago, and I started to work in Australia hospitality, beautiful. I've learned a lot. There was a lot of charismatic personality in this business. And I, pick and look from every one of them until one day I finally given the opportunity with my friend Vince and Andrea here to start a new adventure. It was not my dream place. It was not the cocktail bar. We actually had to open a pizza place. And that was funny because Andrea just recently moved from the artisan bar, from like a super astronomical team here in Sydney. And I asked to him if he wanted to become a bartender in his pizza joint. And he was a bit confused. He was like, really? But he accepted the challenge. And many moons ago, 6, we started this project called Maybe Frank, which was pizza and cocktail. So a classic pizzeria, and with a wow effect to have like a super small corner in the venue, which was our cocktail bar, where all the creativity was, coming out from Andrea's talent and from our joke and our way we do this job.
So to make it clear, Andrea, you moved from London, from the Artisan, 4 years in a row, 50 best #1 bar, tells the cocktails numerous times, best cocktail bar in the world, best menu, best bar team. So you moved from as Stafano said, like this absolutely unbelievable bar to Sydney, work in little pizza bar.
Yes, exactly.
How did you feel about it?
I think it was pretty exciting at the time because I believe you have to make the challenge for yourself based on the environment that you are, and the reality of Sydney was very different is very different by the reality in London and the rest of Europe. And it was very enjoyable to step from something like more like, let's say, corporate of a hotel bar to something more free and sometimes a little bit crazy, as maybe Frank. This Italian, so I could really recognize myself a lot in the environment. It was very authentic for me to be there and do what I was doing. But we were doing everything as a team, as a, you know, we worked together with the kitchen, with Stefano, with myself, and yeah, it was very surprising how fast this went successful.
So would you say, Stefano, that pizza and cocktails were equally important from beginning, from day one?
Yes.
Yeah.
Pizza was always the drive to people to get there, and cocktail was the surprise, because I think people were used to go in many pizza places in Sydney, and all the drinks were always average, you know, they were not taken care of. The pizza was great, but all the drinks were average.
So by then, by 2016, 17, you were on the market. People started to know Maybe Frank. I remember you were selling those caps with Maybe Frank, and you have beautiful merchandise, and your hospitality was always cheerful and joyful. And I don't believe 5 years ago as many bartenders or journalists were traveling to Australia, but when they came to Maybe Frank, they always left speechless and they remembered you. Would you say the breaking point in kind of worldwide recognition was when you, Andrea, won the world class competition and you went to the global final in Mexico, but prior that you went to London for a trip? Would you say like that was kind of like the changing point in your career?
Well, definitely winning competitions helps a lot to put you in a map, personally, and yeah, and also was an amazing field for us to learn new things and traveling, as you said, coming to London.
And that was 2017, you came to London, right?
Yes.
And it was the first time since you left London?
First time, yeah. It was very nice to get back for a nice trip with Stefano.
Yeah, it was fun.
You've been in London before?
Yeah, many times.
But what happened in 2017?
Okay, we left Sydney with Andrea just winning world class, which was a very good prize and put us really on the map. Everybody was looking at Maybe Frank, what we were doing, how come this little pizza place was making, you know, such a big name for itself. And we just recently opened our second location, another pizza place, but everybody was expecting us to do something different. They say, why don't you guys open a bar? What are you missing to open a bar? And what we're missing was nothing, was one of the topic of our conversation there was a story to tell. Couldn't just open something like, okay, let's do a bar. We needed a story. The opportunity we had to travel to London and search for this story was incredible. Me and Andrea, we left Sydney with an idea in mind of what we wanted to achieve. But then one day, luckily, we got lost in London as we were walking around London. Not in very nice clothes like today. We were very
backpackers.
Yeah. But we stumbled upon the big Savoy sign, and I think it was afternoon around 4 p.m. and we were about to go for dinner. The same night we say, but we are here and might as well go inside the Savoy. You know,
you never been
to the Savoy.
Me neither.
First time.
And you lived in London, you never been in Savoy?
Yeah, almost 5 years in London, never been.
So we walk inside this institution, this beautiful, you know, hotel. We are not used to in Sydney. You know, the hotel bar doesn't exist. We walk inside and we see this temple. We see this picture on the wall. We recognize straight away Sinatra. And then actually the same time we were walking in, Frank Sinatra was playing. And you know, Maybe Frank is inspired by Frank Sinatra, the rapper, and all the movement. So we were very amazed. We were walking inside, and at the end, very far away, a young East European guy waved at us and give us the hand movement, like come to the bar. So from far, we slowly walk in the room, we pass the piano, we sit at the bar, and there was Martin, which we didn't know at the time, but apparently recognized us, and Andrea from the world class winning, because he was a participant in the same year. We sit at the bar of this place described as an institution. It's a beautiful bar, but most of the time it's very, not boring, but it's, you know, it's very proper. And so we didn't know what to expect. But the moment we sat down, Martin gave us one of the best bar experience we've ever had. He was very funny. He was very entertaining. always elegant, never, you know, out of place. And we went through the menu, we went drinking, and I remember, you know, many of the flavor actually were resembling some of the drink Andrea was making at the time. And I go like, oh, that's so cool that all the other side of the world, we're using same ingredient, we're using same stuff. There is this guy who's really funny. We end up taking picture. We end up coming back the next day. We really love this hotel bar experience that we had. And we left at night with an idea in our mind. We look at each other with Andrea and say, we should make a hotel bar in Australia, because Andrea also coming from that world. And Andrea said to me, well, what we need to make, you remember? You say, we need a hotel bar, but
you know, without
all hotel stuff.
Exactly. So it would be cool to have something like as beautiful and with the 5-star style of service as an hotel bar, but by cutting out all the heavy rules and problems that you usually have when you work for an hotel bar. So this was the good parts of Maybe Frank: freedom and pretty much do whatever comes to your mind in terms of go against the rules of classics, but to give a very classic approach as you will have in one of those like iconic hotels. This was the challenge, I believe, no?
Yeah, it was the challenge for us, and it was the opposite challenge that many hotel bars were having at the time, because the challenge of the hotel bar was try not to be a hotel bar. And we have a beautiful example, the Artisan, Ago in Georgia, the Connaught. The Savoy was pretty classic, was a hotel bar, wasn't trying to break in many rules, but the fact we were trying to do the opposite. We didn't have a hotel bar, but we say, let's try to build one. We want to be a hotel bar, but we don't have a hotel. So it was a very crazy thought at the moment. But finally, what is important about this conversation, we had an idea. And after Maybe Frank, because Maybe Frank was always the inspirational, started with this poster that we showed you at the beginning of this interview, and was this Sands Casino marquee that said, Dean Martin, Maybe Frank, Maybe Sammy. The idea was back in the day, because in Las Vegas, the Rat Pack was the main act, was to attract as many people as they could, gamblers for them, of course, and that's business, you know? So they say, we have the biggest act in Las Vegas, maybe there is Frank, maybe there is Sammy, you gotta come to the Sands tonight, you gotta spend your money here, and you might be able to witness the best show in the show business. And that frame, that painting is in Maybe Frank since day one, no? People pass by and they always ask, why maybe Frank, why Maybe Frank? And we told them, look, we're very inspired by these people. First of all, they were some of the first Italian going overseas to America. They were accepted because we were not accepted like first time of the boat, you know? So it was a bit of like a racial barrier, even for Italian. We like the fact that Frank Sinatra, also described always as a, you know, heavy drinker, womanizer, but he had a good side, you know. He was one of the first person who was always fighting for civil rights, giving the opportunity to Sammy Davis Jr., one of the, you know, African American, to give him the stage. He always say, if I don't perform here, and if he doesn't sleep in the same hotel as I am, I'm not going to perform here. So he was always very thriving, very trying to help the African American community, Count Basie, everybody. So we really like the story of Frank, you know. We like the way that they were making fun of each other. We like the way that they were always, you know, make a joke of each other, given by race, religion, everything, you know. So we thought that they were a good example. They were a good start point for us. And anyway, we arrived to the conclusion. Everybody says, why Maybe Frank? Why Maybe Frank? When are you going to open Maybe Sammy? So one day, we had the idea, we had the concept. We start to have the team around the world ready to move to Australia. Say, Maybe Sammy is happening.
And that was the point in my career at the Savoy when I realized on the trip to Australia the same year I met you, a couple months after I went to Australia, I went to Maybe Frank for the first time. I was like, what is this fuss all about? And I sat and I had like one of the best experiences as well. I'm not saying this because you said that you had best experience at the Savoy, but literally I was sitting at this little tiny pizza, which, and like, don't be offended, in all the outfit and decor wasn't like the most exclusive or, you know, like super fancy. It was very simple, honest pizza cocktail bar, but I had the beautiful fun. I had amazing memory. And when I left, I had this kind of idea in my mind, like, how is this possible? Andrea from Artisan, Balázs Molnár, ex-Artisan member, as well, Shangri-La bar, Lobster bar in Hong Kong member. He was there as well at the same time with Andrea. I was like, how is this possible? Those people from hotel bars are happier now in Australia than I'm happier in London, in #1 bar in the world. And the reason why they were happier is because, as Andrea said, that this burden, this pressure of corporate wasn't there. It was more freedom, more potential and opportunities. But on the other hand, there was no budget, right? Because like when you work with the budget as the hotel bars do, you know, you have more freedom in terms of money spending on a vessels, on a decor. But yeah, when I moved over in 2018 and we built the team, as you said, we've been working on this idea of Maybe Sammy for like 6 months. And then finally we opened the Maybe Sammy in January 2019. So a year and a half ago. And as you said, inspired by 50s, 60s, you know, the beautiful, roaring, booming area, Las Vegas, Red Peg, and inspired not only by those talents and people like Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin, Sammy Davis Jr., but as well about the way how they interact with the guests, the show they put, the smile they put on the faces of the people. And you know, within the 1 year, and we don't want to brag about it, but within the 1 year we got like more than 10 national, international awards. And then people always like asking us, oh, so what's the winning formula? You know, like even when you were at Artisan or when I was at the Savoy, like, oh, how you are #1 in the world? Like, is this because of White Jacket or because of, I don't know, you and Artisan had these creative cocktails? And I really believe it's a combination of many aspects, like a team, good timing, you know, location. But the most important part, I would say, and not many people talking about it because it's very sensitive topic, is the business part. It's a money part. And I really would like to, Stafano, give us a little bit of insight. And we want to share with you on the screen for the first time the reality of opening own business, the reality running a bar such as Maybe Sammy, you know, moving from pizza bar, which been paid off within a year. I would say you break even very fast. Now trying to open the first hotel bar minus hotel in Australia. And Stafano and Andrea are gonna kind of explain how to do it and share with you some numbers. So Andrea, how it is to, you know, to open new bar, new concept, because I came on the board like pretty much in the middle of the whole process, but I know you guys from the beginning were thinking about it and where to start. What about like, you know, what to focus on? And
yeah, I believe, you know, from everything we do, which could be from setting up the bar every day to planning a new opening, we adopt this rule, which is what is being called the rocket measure. Taking example from the rocket when they got into the space, no? They use the 80% of the fuel to actually take out from the land and go into the atmosphere. And the rest 20% is what has been used to do the whole journey. So it's all about planning. That's why also sometimes it takes very long to open the doors. But the success is based on hard work in the beginning. We believe is a lot of planning, is a lot of brainstorming and go back to ideas and keep working on it to make sure that then once the doors are open, you need very little energy to run the business, and you don't have to keep going back and rechange what was not working.
And those 80% are not only, you're not talking about cocktails, how to create cocktails, because nowadays to make a drink is easy, right?
Yeah.
It's more about like how to set up the venue, where the money coming from, what about the cost, and Stafano gonna share with you right now like real numbers on how we opened Sammy and why it wasn't easy. So tell us a little bit more about setup costs.
Exactly. So setup cost, starting your own business. Many of you may be watching, or some of you already made the mistake or the amazing opportunity to open their own bar. We always believe when you open your own bar, you have to think about, it's called hidden costs. There's so many, and that's not the one you usually forget about. It's true. There is a cost. I mean, I'm talking about Australia, but I'm sure it's the same around the world. Here we need a liquor license. We need to set up a company. So you need to create an ABN number. Then you need to start to focus on maybe a DA, which is a development approval, which has a cost like, I think we estimated here like $2,000, $3,000. you need to start to talk to an architect. And the architect will charge you for his design and will also charge you for his time to follow the work in places. Then you have to think about branding. You have to think about, website. You have to think about other little costs such as the bank guarantee. I mean, in Australia, it's common knowledge that when you open a bar, you need to put with your landlord the bank guarantee to cover the cost in case you fail, in case your idea, your beautiful concept doesn't go through. The most important thing we always say is first find the concept, find an idea, make sure this idea, is straight into your mind, because then what you're going to do? You're going to use your own money, you're going to ask for money, there is many things that can change, during this experience. When you are thinking to open your own bar, when you're talking to your landlord, nothing is in place. Your DA is not there. Your liquor license is not there. So you need to be very smart talking to them and see when am I going to start to pay the rent? Am I starting to pay the rent the exact moment I move in and am I start to do my work, or I start to pay the rent when my doors are open? But when my doors can be open, the doors in Australia can be open in 3 situations and they need to happen at the same time. You need to have the development approved. You need to have your liquor license on the door, and you need to know what you're doing. So if these 3 things are not together and you're already paying rent, you understand that you're starting already with 1 foot back, and then you might not have a profitable business. So take your time, always check your hidden expense, always check, do a list of everything you need, do your budget.
What you can see.
Like here we did a budget, we show, for example, joinery, big expense. Look at Maybe Sammy, we have beautiful couches, wallpaper, bar, let's say furniture, which is everything extra, table, chair, other thing. And then you need to think about bar equipment, bar taps, serving trolley, refrigeration, heating, air conditioning, lighting.
I was surprised how much air conditioning costs.
Air conditioning was very expensive. You need the plumbing, you need the electrical, you need the music. So, there is a lot of things, as you can tell. You need a cool room because, you're not going to stack everything in the fridge. You need signage, and you need a POS system. You need uniform, you need the glassware. So the bills adds up. We arrived at Maybe Sammy, we were almost close to $800,000. That was our budget. I remember when we did the budget, we went, this is everything we really, really want. Let's see if we can find this money. Let's see in how long we can pay this back. Otherwise, we start to scrape back. The chair maybe don't cost $200 each. We're going to find the same chair with the same design. Maybe it's a copy, but it costs $100 each. So all these little things lead to one question. I want to open my bar. I have my idea. It's beautiful. I have a concept. It's amazing. I have a budget. It's very expensive or not expensive at all. I need investors. I need people who help my dream come true. But I have a solid idea. We'll share with you our business plan idea that we show to everybody. Liquor company, because as you're aware, and I think in America, same as in Australia, liquor company can always help with some cash flow injection, or according to your speed rail, according to your cocktail menu. But that was an important part. We went to talk to a lot of companies, see which company could have helped us. Which company could have helped us in purchasing some stuff that we couldn't, such as our coffee machine, for example, was, with Mr. Black, they help us buy a new coffee machine. And then we ask money for our beer system to a beer company. You need to compromise because this is a business. We are not, we're not coming from a big hotel where we can have, expenses and then, this is a little object. We have to make money here to be able to do what we love. We need to buy a lot of vodka to be able to buy our favorite gin, our favorite whiskey, our favorite, it's not, we cannot buy whatever we want. We have to start slow and build. As the best bar in the world were done. They cannot be magically full, magically ready from the first day you open the door. You can try, but the beauty of a bar is to build it slowly. And every week you get a frame, you get a plant, and you get a flamingo, but it starts slowly. And budget was it's just one small part of it. Money is the other big question. So do you have money, or you really want to spend all your saving into a project that you really believe in, but can you do it? Is that maybe you have a family, maybe, so you need to start to go around. You need to have a beautiful business plan like we did, and you still test. First you see the supplier, you show them your idea, and you start to mark, okay, out of the supplier I can get 7% of my investment, beautiful. Then you start to ask your family, maybe you ask, your rich uncle or your mom or a mix of people, and they say, okay, they can cover 30% of my business. And then maybe you have a friend who is in finance and he made a lot of money and he want to invest in you because he believes in the story you told him. And he goes like, okay, look, I'll write you a check for this amount of money, use it. Of course I want it back, but see how it goes. I've become business partner, silent. And then the other important part is your landlord. The people that own the building in Australia, usually they need to give you a landlord contribution, which could be either 3, 6, or 9 months of free rent or a contribution to build, because basically what you're doing, you're enriching their space. Maybe Sammy was an empty shell in the middle of the city, but in a part where nobody was going to. So by putting this beautiful decor, creating one of the best bars in the world, it gives value to the people who own the building, to the landlord, and they're happy. Because the moment we're going to step out of here, maybe in 5 years or 10 years, they have an institution, they say, look, this was worth $1,000 a week. Now, after 10 years, one of the best bars in the world was here, and now the rent is worth $3,000 a week. So you understand, we're adding value to something, so let's ask for some money from these people. And in a period of 5 years, because usually contracts here are done 5 + 5, and in 5 years when we negotiate again, we can ask for a better rent, we can ask for some free rent or a better condition. So the friends, the family, the landlord, the spirit company, alcohol company, a beer company, all these add into this amount of money that you need, and that is your budget. If it matches your budget, good. Otherwise, you start to cut. Then, once you have the money, actually, before you have the money, you need also to present a sales forecast. How are you going to give this money back? Usually, money is given back with a percentage. If you go to a bank, they're crazy, maybe 14%, 15% return. If you go to a friend, maybe he's happy to take 10%, or maybe he's happy to take his money back and a percentage of the business. There is many ways to do that. When we did the sale forecast for Maybe Sammy, we were working on, this is a 100 pax venue, 100 people venue, but we always work, when we work to make numbers, we always work on a worst case scenario. So we call it 80 people venue. We say we're going to open 5 days a week. We say we're going to open from 4 to 1. We say that we were hoping to make $40,000 a week. And let's call it, okay, $40,000 a week. We say, what's the total cost of sale? So to make $40,000 a week, you need 40% of those $40,000 is what the cost to buy the stock, buy the alcohol, running costs basically, no? And then what's left is your gross profit. But after your gross profit, you need to take your staff cost. We all know, we're all aware staff cost is very expensive. In Australia, more than in America, because in America, I believe people get paid with the tips and a very small wage. In Australia, the minimum wage is high and it changes every day of the week. So Monday to Friday, people are paid a certain amount. Saturday, they have a loading. Sunday, they have another loading. So you need to understand staff costs can get very crazy here in Australia, and is usually around 30 and 35%.
So you're living like with 20%.
Yeah, you're lucky if you make the staff cost under 30%. You're a very good operator. You need very busy nights. And so you add in this cost. We show you here in the thing, and then you have to calculate your rent. Rent usually should sit around 10% of your profit. If it can be less, but that you need to take in consideration. And then you have the sadness, repair, maintenance, because every week something breaks, glassware breaks, flamingo break, light break. So you need to put that in consideration. And, we budget as $1,000 a week, whatever. You have insurance cost, and then miscellaneous light, electricity, internet, blah, blah, blah. You see, you make a lot of money, but the net income, it's very small. It varies between 10 and 20% of your overall what you're making, no? So that's why business is very important. And is never have to be forget. That's what I say. Don't be cocky. Don't say, I don't stock this product. I don't want this. Everything is equally important. If you want to be yourself, if you want to do what you do, if you want to have fun, you need to make money. If you don't make money, you don't have a business. But to make money and to make people coming here, we need to create a show. And that's the third part. And I'm done talking for now. And we introduce you to the show part. And this is what we believe Martin is going to tell you a bit about it.
Yeah, I think it's very important what you said, and especially for bartenders out there, because even me, when I start working in the Savoy or any other bar, doesn't matter. Like, you don't see those things like cost, you don't see numbers. So you think like, bottle of vodka, if I spill, nothing happened, or I just broke the bottle of whiskey, nothing happened. But it's like adding, to the cost, and it's good to be aware of costing, even when you're creating drinks, to know what's your budget, how you can cost the drinks. And me and Andrea, we try to explain how we think about our menu, but first of all, how we think about our guests, because that's, after the business part, the most important part. Think about the guest. And we believe the guest is the center of the universe for us. And if you think about universe when we were kids, we've been taught the center is the sun. In our stellar system, it's the sun, and us, the planets, moving around the sun. So we are moving around the guests. And I believe, the guests, they don't need us. We need guests. Without guests, we will be just empty bar, empty place. Like, it will be very sad. So it's important that we pay attention and focus on our guests, and stay like, this is it. This is the most important part. It's not the, awards or the best bottle of whiskey I have on the shelf, or my Instagram account, or my colleague, because sometimes we are distracted by so many elements during the shift, but we should be always focused on the guest. But, sometimes guests can be a little bit tricky, Andrea?
Oh, absolutely. As we have a beautiful quote here from Walt Disney, which says, your guests are not always right, but they're always your guest. Which means, is what we try to do here is always to understand that in every situation, even what can be a difficult situation, guests are the only reason why you can open the door every day and you come to work every day. So if you want to do what you love, you have to make sure your guests are happy. Doesn't matter if you don't agree with them, but it's a crucial part, no? Your ability is to keep doing what you want and keep being, in the case of a bartender, if you want to be creative, I believe your ability has to be read the type of guest that you have and be creative around it. Don't try to force your opinion and your concept into something that it doesn't belong to.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's very important to know like what they want, what kind of typography of the guest you have, where you are, because like in Australia, that there's different type of guests than in London or New York, and you have to always like do what they want. It doesn't matter if we want to do, martinis and Manhattans like in London, because the clientele here maybe wants fruity cocktail or long drink cocktails, and we want to share with you in the 3 steps how to make a perfect cocktail and what are the 3 basics of where we started. So
yeah, for here in Maybe Sammy, as well as maybe Frank before, we divide our process into make a menu and into make a drink in usually 3 steps. Of course, we start by learn the basics. It's very important to understand what is the classic, because if they're classic, means they probably works. So it's something that is well known around the world. So you first have to put a base on what you are doing. That's why also we represent this kind of like a classic style bar. It's very important that you know what you're doing and why you're doing, most importantly. Once you manage to get an understanding of the classic and also what people are used to drink in your area, we move to a second part, which is craft your own expression. So adapt what you learn on your idea and try to create a flow which makes sense. So in our case, for example, we took, in this case, we're gonna explain later through the menu, we took our first menu inspiration from the 1950s, 1960s and the casinos. So we try to adapt what was for us a very good starting point and a very good drink or ideas into this vision, to have like a linear type of menu. And then at the end, our last step is master and polish, which is we try in this case to think outside the box most of the time. Or a good drink is a good drink, but a good drink is much better when also is followed by a good story and a good way to interact with the guest. We focus, yes, on flavors and on the liquid, but it's also very important what kind of emotion you are giving by selling a drink. Because in the end of the day, we sell so many drinks which people sometimes don't even know what they are drinking, but they want that experience. They want that type of involvement and interaction with the cocktail. It's very beautiful, I think, today, the way how we can touch and surprise people and leave a kind of like good impact by serving a drink.
Exactly.
You know?
If you look on the menu which we have here for you, it is exactly the menu we have right now. It's very simple, but the idea how we structured it, it's simple, but we want to surprise on the table, as Andrea said. So Stafano, like, tell us like straight away, first page, the minis.
Yeah, the minis was for us one of the great idea. We were searching around the world, the bar, whatever they do, and we came across this mini they were doing in Harris Bar in Venice, no? And we said, that's a cool thing, we haven't seen this in Australia, no? So with the boys, we sat down, we said, okay, let's focus on this mini, no? But let's get this super cool glass. Let's make sure that mini, it's a staple of our, we are a classic cocktail bar. What do you want to drink in a mini martini glass? A martini. It's the most iconic cocktail. So we start with this idea of having mini martini. And we had two very good, let's say, intuition. The first one was, we ordered this beautiful, beautiful glassware from London. It ended up costing a lot of money. If you want to know, that cost us like $20 per glass. And we were making inside a drink that was supposed to consume fast and cheap. So the drink itself cost $11. So it's crazy. You have a $22 glass, which is beautiful, for a drink that costs $11. But this drink got a lot of attention. It got a lot of attention that we start to say, okay, we need to create, we call it the mini martini hour, which was 1 hour of the day where this mini martini was even cheaper. So it cost $5.50 now. So people were coming in to order this beautiful martini in a super small cup, like a 3-sip martini, in this very expensive glass, but the place was full. So the intuition was great. We really reached what we wanted to. We want a classy drink, martini, with a beautiful glassware, yes, and we want the bar to be full. And the first page of the menu represent us in the mini martini. Then we evolve in the different style. We have Frank, Sammy, Dean, of course, and Ava.
And each of those names represent different classic drinks. So we didn't want to call drinks like, oh, this is a mini Manhattan or Alaska or, a mini Boulevardier. We get them named after the Red Pack members. And it was more fun, engaging for those guests, because sometimes they're intimidated by classic drinks. They think they're like too outdated, they're like not trendy anymore. So what we did, we took classic drinks, right? We took Martinez, we took Alaska, we took Tuxedo, we took, Corpse Reviver #1. We tweaked them to the modern palate, maybe adding a bit of sugar, different dilution, different proportion. But what was interesting, you're suddenly serving classic drinks like in London in smaller style, and you're making so many of them. Like we counted last year, within a year, we sold 1,000 mini cocktails, 1,000 mini drinks. It was just incredible. And that was like the first best-selling point, what brought attention, brought people in. And then Andrea came up with this idea of the casinos inspiration.
Yes, absolutely. Like as Stefano said, some drinks like the mini and the mini hours are super important for us to get the venue full. But one thing that I've really learned in my time in London, especially with Simone and Alex, is how much your drinks can be your most important marketing tool. So they can upsell itself. So the people, maybe they come in to spend $5 martini drink, but then they see on the floor arriving these trays with these beautiful drinks, very different from what they see all around the world. And that's why then they just point it out and they say, I want that one as well, which for us is also a good way to upselling, no? And we did this selection of Vegas cocktails. They're all inspired by casinos and named after casinos where the Red Pack used to perform or they used to hang out. at the time in Vegas. Drink itself, they're like, there are not many. We started with 8. Now it's a bit reduced. We have 6 because of the reduced capacity and everything. Each drink is very important for us. Each drink is telling a story and is giving something a little bit extra to the guest.
Exactly. So we train our staff and ourselves to know more about the place. For example, we have this cocktail called the Dunes, and the Dunes Casino doesn't exist anymore. Instead, there is Bellagio. But the Dunes, when they opened, they used to call it the Miracle on Desert. It was inspired by these Arabian Nights. It was very opulent, very eccentric. So we had this idea, to put this story behind into the drink and transform it to the storytelling, giving experience to the guest. And it's working very well. It's just only 8 signatures. But then we were thinking, like we are in this financial district in the city, in the CBD, we were thinking we're going to be busy from the beginning. It wasn't like that. In many occasions, we were empty. So we were thinking how we can bring people in early days. Yes, mini cocktails, but then as well, we came up with the idea of aperitivo highballs, because we can see the aperitivo time around the world is very famous and popular. We create very simple 4 highballs, well-known classic drinks. And then what I really like about our menu are the next pages where we're touching toppings of the how we say, the big whales, the big spenders.
Big whales, the spender, the high rollers. It's it's a part of the menu where we try to see, the people want to spend a bit more, want to impress somebody. There is a lot of people who come out and they maybe did a big sale overnight, or they won the market exchange and they feel like to celebrate. And I think in a bar, and this is business show at the same time, you need to give them this opportunity. If a guy wants to spend $200 on a drink, he should. But if you don't have the drink on the menu, you won't sell it.
You have to know your location. Exactly. We wouldn't be able to do these high rollers type of drinks or time capsule vintage drinks. We wouldn't be able to do this in a neighborhood bar.
No.
But we can do it here in the financial district because there are like more than 50,000 people in the offices around. And as Stafano said, with corporate cards celebrating, why not? We took a risk, we did it, and we sold a few. Of course, we did very well. And then, in Australia, coffee is very important equally as alcohol, as a cocktails. And we have this focus on a coffee cocktails. Of course, we roast our own coffee and we try to show the people that it's not only espresso martini, which is #1 best-selling drink, but we can do something else. And it's doing very well. Till the point the COVID came, right, in March. We have to rethink our model business. We have to rethink the way how we're going to present this menu, because the law saying in New South Wales that you cannot have physical menu on the table only when it's laminated, right?
Yeah, correct. And now not anymore, I think.
And now not anymore.
Just from last Friday.
So that's why we came with the idea. You can see on the screen as well, but we can have it here for you. Andrea can tell a little bit more what's going on here.
This is basically a postcard that still we try to keep again interactive by using a paper doll inside the postcard. So every guest can take it home, can send it to someone if they want to, because it's already, let's say, designed by being sent around the world, but also can be cutted and playful with all of our cocktails and
your face on it,
uniforms and hats and all of the little toys, let's say, that sometimes we use around the bar in Maybe Sammy to keep people engaged. Is something that is good to take home. And by a little QR code in the back, people can at any time from home or from wherever access to our menu and see the changes and see what is available or what we are working on. So it's very important for us to adapt in those situations, try to make the best out of it. And I think it's been a very successful change.
Yeah, because we think outside of glass, like what else around. And we have a couple of examples for you of our signature drinks from past and current menu, how to adapt and how to think about outside the glass. And speaking of which, the QR codes.
Yes. Yes, this is one of our best-selling drinks so far. It's called Tropicana. And, as a bartender, so many times we come across a cocktail that for us maybe takes so long to make and is so complex in flavors, but then because we try to work faster, the cocktail is made in one bottle and then just open, pour, which is amazing from a technical point of view and from a bartender eye. But we noticed that from our guests, sometimes they were like, how comes I pay so much money for a cocktail and it's just one bottle that you pour and open in a glass?
like lack of show, lack of attention.
And sometimes it feels like that if you don't engage in the explanation of how every single ingredient is worked and elaborated, also the taste of it is affected. Because once I know a story, once I know, for example, you said it for the coffee, once I know how much energy and love is made to roast the coffee, then I also appreciate much more your coffee cocktail the same way I will appreciate the wine. So we create a little edible QR code.
Is it edible?
Yes, it is.
It is.
To place on a cocktail, and then one scan is going to take you to a video where we explain every single step of the drink. And this is a cocktail actually made in a maybe Frank pizza oven. It's very fun to see how people engage with it. And these also allow you, every single cocktail you sell, to gain one extra Instagram follower, which is very important today for our marketing tool, because we focus our PR pretty much everything through social media.
We're living in the digital era, it's true. And from QR codes on the table as the menu to edible QR codes as well, the Lobby Boy hats, this is one of our signatures which we always like wear when we do guest travel around the world. And we really want to connect with the guests around the world. So Andrea, with a team of, I don't want to say scientists, but technical people or IT people who are not us, create this Instagram filter, which you can find on our Instagram page, maybe _ Sammy _ Sydney. You can find the Instagram filter where you can click on it. This filter will give you this virtual hat, Lobby Boy hat, which you can wear whenever you are around the world. Yeah, and that's how we can get closer to the guests, how we think outside of the glass. Amazing drink, which you can see here. It's a ladylike. I'm always telling the people it's like a porn star martini highball. Very simple, you know, passion fruit, mango, tropical. But what is interesting is a little small golden thing on the side. Tell us, Andrea.
So again, we try to sometimes take something that can be simple in a way. As a bartenders, we focus a lot. I believe a very fundamental part of the drink is the aroma. So we decided to reinterpret the aroma of the drink that usually is made like with a zest of lemon or a spray or something, to actually turn you as the carrier of the aroma of the cocktail. So we designed a hand cream, which is made with the same flavor of the drink, which then we ask the guests to put on their hands, smell it, and then sip the cocktail to change the whole experience of the drink, which then they can take home or have it in their bag or something. And every time they're going to smell their hands, they're going to remind about the cocktail that they just had and the beautiful night they were having.
We lost many creams. Just so you know, if the cream was made in-house by us, I remember when we were making for the first time, it turns out solid like a rock. Next time we made this cream was super liquid and runny. So it's pure science, but you know, everything is out there. It's on the Google, it's on the internet. You can Google how to make creams, and we did it, and it was like very, very big success, and it was the best-selling drink.
Yeah.
But the cost-wise, if we look at the ingredients, it was simple vodka sour with passion fruit, but that element of cream brings the value and to the experience of the guest.
Absolutely.
We had another drink you can see on the screen, New Frontier. Very think outside of the glass. We saw this kind of model from Aviario, Alinea, the Michelin star restaurant or fine dining cocktail bars, where we infused the bag with the aroma, right? And we brought it to the table.
Yeah.
But we did the next approach. What was inside the bag?
So inside the bag, we were placing a scratch card. So it was like a kind of game, like an internal lottery, that after the drink, you could scratch the card and win either a coffee, because the aroma was filled with the coffee air that we roast, or a brunch, because we used to open a brunch before all of the new restrictions. So people were, for us, was an amazing tool to bring people back to the venue. But with a cocktail, we are actually inviting them to come back for another experience. And in this case, also to spend more money, because they come for a free coffee, then eventually they stay having like a full brunch and cocktails and everything. So
and if you look at the cost of the drink, like drink is very simple. It's like a mezcal sort of apple sherry Negroni stuff. The drink is very approachable. You know, it's the problem with us bartenders, sometimes we force people to drink what we like, mezcal, Negroni and stuff like that. But this is like one of the most approachable agave-based drink, and it was best-selling, huge success. We in the end stopped it, right? We stopped serving this drink because of the environmental impact. We realized that sometimes maybe that outside of the glass thinking and show shouldn't be more important than environment. So yes, we you know, we had some plastic waste in the end of the day, and we decided to rather not to do it and not use those vacuum bags, and we tried to think about another solution. So basically we came to the conclusion we're gonna remove this drink, although it was best selling, and now we're currently working on a new drink with more environmental friendly approach. Circus, it's hard to see on the picture, but whenever you came to the seminar, show us on the guest sheet, we had this idea of creating a magic trick, right?
Yes.
We cannot explain it because it wouldn't be magic anymore, but we can tell what was going on.
It was, yes, it's hard to explain. So there is we believe that, you know, every drink has to come out with something like a little something new. If you can manage with a cocktail to leave people surprised, that's how you're gonna, I think, win. And we were taking inspiration from Magic to make this cocktail, where we took this paper bag and we fill up in the paper bag the ingredients that are going to be made from the cocktail. It was mint and chili in this case. And then by blowing the bag, the drink was already inside, was ready to go, just to be poured. For us, this was like another example of this 80-20 measure that we say. We work a lot behind the scene to prepare each cocktail, each batch ready to go, filled up already in a bag. But during service was just showtime. We just focus on make people having fun and interact with them.
Exactly. It was awesome. It was great shocker. Good magic trick, and we stopped at this moment. But one of the best-selling coffee cocktails, espresso martini, tropical twizzle martini. You know, we know coffee is big here. We play it safe. We're implementing tropical flavors into it, and again, people are surprised. Like, oh, it's not just normal espresso martini, which is bitter and sweet. It's something fresh and tropical, and this is like one of the elements as well of the surprise, where people were expecting the classic things, but we add our own twist into it. And I think this is pretty much from our menu, from kind of our like logic behind the drinks and financial stuff. But as what's next? You know, like what's that element?
As we took this beautiful quote from Charlie Parker, which we also take it as a motto for our bar, which is master your instrument, master the music, and then forget all that bullshit and just play. Which is, once the doors are open, people start to come into the venue, everything else is not important anymore, or at least not as important as the guest. So everything has to work around it to make this like show business style working, which is most out of the glass. Everything is out of the glass. You have to work on what is the quality of your drink in the back of house. When the doors are open, it's more about
customer.
Exactly.
You're always saying it's like an orchestra, right?
It's like an orchestra. We don't even take time to change our own lights because we have setting throughout the day, because we don't want to have that worry in our head. We just want to be worried from the people that open the door and everyone who's sitting inside. That's it for us.
But as you can see in these videos from 50s, 60s, you know, you look at the Rat Pack guys on the stage, you know, having fun, making jokes out of each other, you know, like you're not gonna be offended if I tell you, look at this Italian, he's gonna give you pizza tonight, another Italian cocktail, and they're gonna make jokes out of me. I'm, you know, Eastern European, I'm from Central Europe and stuff like that.
Yeah, it was fun, the fact that when the rapper was entertaining the guest, was not always direct to them, was not making fun of them. Like you go in some stand-up comedy now, they look at the audience, they were joking with each other, they were having fun with each other. But by doing that, the people are like having fun watching you. So it's kind of weird. Like we know each other, we know where we can play with each other, but it entertains others watching you having fun. And we do that on every night. We have some slide of like some crazy stuff that we do every night. This is Paulino with Martin porting coffee, Andrea and Martin dressed like elves. We have a bubble machine, like really just throwing bubbles sometimes throughout the night, wearing props, giving props to people. Remember, a lot of bartenders come into this job and do this life because first, usually it's not a choice. It's like some uni stuff. They cannot pay for uni. They jump into bartending. Sometimes they're shy. They don't know how to break the ice. And it happened to a lot of our stuff. And we say, when you don't know what to say, just take something, put in front of the guest, tell him his name is Nico, he's single, he's 45, he's looking for a lover. Talk to them. These are, we call them icebreaker. We give tools to our staff to be behind the bar to break the ice. You know when a guest wants to talk to you. You also know when they don't want to talk to you. But, you know, dropping something in front of them, cut their attention, see what you're doing. For us was a very important part for this show business thing. And that's what a collection of these images are for.
Exactly. We want to have fun, but to be able to do that, we have to have a strong business plan. We have to have a strong idea, strong preparation, rocket measures, Andrea said. And you said it beautiful on the last meeting, right? Like you cannot have fun or you cannot be easy and relaxed if you're not sure about your preparation and a back setup.
Absolutely. Like fun should be a consequence of a very well prepared job.
Exactly. And I agree. I mean, we traveled within a year. We've been lucky enough to be sponsored by brands and beautiful events such as those of the cocktails, to be able to see the world and tell the people what we do and how we do, and show them most of all that as soon as we have fun as a boys, same way as a Red Pack had the fun, you know, then guests gonna have fun and they're gonna remember that. Maybe they won't remember the Lady Luck or New Frontier Espresso Martini. Maybe they won't remember exactly what we serve as a food, but like whole this package.
The experience is whatever reminds, you know, stays with you when you go and you say, I went to this bar, I remember, you know. So we want to sell experience. And I think that's the most powerful tool for everybody out there, is to be able to have a story to tell, to have an experience to tell. And that one will become very soon enough money. And that money will make you stay afloat, even in difficult time like this. And, you know, do what you love. I think our presentation is over.
I think that's it. I think we said everything exactly within 1 hour. Andrea, you want to add something?
Not really.
Ella Madonna.
Exactly.
And yeah, thank you for having us.
Thank you, guys.
It's been a nice to talk to you like this way virtually. We hope that the bad times gonna be over soon.
Yeah.
We could welcome you here in Australia, and if not, then in our international travels, and show you a little bit of Maybe Sammy love. What we do, you know, you can have amazing cocktails from, you know, one of the amazing brains behind the bar like Andrea. You can have amazing fun and hospitality with this weird Italian accent from Stafano. You can try maybe coffee cocktails from me. You know, each of us, we have something else to offer, and the whole team which is here has something else to offer. But first of all, we want to offer a fun time and entertainment. And thank you very much.
Thank you for listening. Have a good day.
Thank you very much. Ciao.